Yasmin, you were actually at the Capitol on the air during those riots on January 6th. What a difference 2 weeks makes. Talk about the security presence you're seeing there today.
It is such a difference, Joe. Let me take you a little bit further in here, Paul. Let's walk a little bit, because I want to show you, Joe, these non-scalable fences, these 7-foot non-scalable fences. These were obviously erected after the January 6th riots on the Capitol. On top of that, if you look a little bit further behind me, there's actually barbed wiring on top of those non-scalable fences. So there's like 2 to 3 layers of protective fencing leading all the way up to the Capitol. And the perimeter of the entire mall area is closed off. Usually, as they're preparing for inauguration services over the history and over the last years, they always have some sort of the mall that is closed off. But now it is much further beyond those borders because of the protective measures they've had to put in place after the January 6th riots. We actually just saw, as you guys were coming to us, we saw hundreds of National Guard folks from the state of Massachusetts that just arrived this morning. That's adding on to the 25,000 plus National Guards that are going to be in place here come Wednesday. The juxtaposition, Joe and Savannah, of what I'm experiencing here in this city now versus what we saw on January 6th on the Capitol, it's astounding to me. I want to play a little bit for you guys, what we experienced on January 6th, and then we'll talk about some more of the security measures we're seeing on the ground now. There's that smoke from the middle of that inauguration balcony coming out. We don't know what it is. We're seeing flash grenades go off. I believe that's what that sound is flash grenades going off on the inauguration balcony. That is where the president-elect, when inaugurated on January 20th, will be standing, taking the oath of office. But today, 2 weeks before that moment, we're seeing flash grenades going off over and over again as Capitol Police are trying to disperse crowds there. So even on that day, what was incredible to me as we were looking at the front steps, the west side of the Capitol, you could see, as I mentioned, the flash grenades going off. You saw the tear gas coming out. And the setup for the inauguration was there on January 6th, and yet it was littered with thousands upon thousands of rioters storming the Capitol. And now these incredible security measures that have been put in place in that area, it is just astounding to me how different just 10 days can make, considering what took place there and what will be taking place tomorrow when Joe Biden is inaugurated as the 46th president of the United States, Joe.
Yasmin, it's amazing how calm you remained as history was unfolding in front of you, and I'm sure it remains surreal now. Now, despite all that security, we're still a country that treasures freedom of speech. So the National Mall is setting up what are known as First Amendment zones. Tell us, what are those, and what are those going to look like tomorrow?
So there's 2 around the National Mall. There's not many. There's just 2 here. And they usually have these all throughout the inauguration. Every inauguration that they've had in history, they have these kind of First Amendment zones as well. We visited one yesterday. You have to get a permit to actually protest in these First Amendment zones. That time has now expired. So anybody that was applying for a permit to protest in these First Amendment zones can no longer apply for those permits. If, in fact, you are attending the inauguration, you applied for a permit, and you want to be in these First Amendment zones, you're going to be going through a security tent that's just a little bit ways from here, Paul. Let's swing around this way. Just a couple blocks down from where I'm standing, there's going to be a security tent down there. If you have a permit to go into one of those First Amendment zones, you're going to go through that security tent. Then security is going to escort you into the First Amendment zone in which you can then protest. Only 100 protesters are allowed in that First Amendment zone, in both of these zones. In front of that First Amendment zone, there's actually some plexiglass to divide you from where normally on Constitution Avenue, you would see then President Joe Biden, after he's been inaugurated, walking down in that parade that they're not going to be having this time around because of security issues. But nonetheless, that is where they're going to be. And they're not expecting many people. So far, the people that have applied for these permits have not even showed up until this point, because it's free and open and free and fair for people to protest now. So they're not expecting a big showing. But yes, they are, in fact, there amidst all the security measures that are in place for tomorrow, Joe.
Yasmin Vossoughian reporting from Washington, typically in a celebratory mood the day before inauguration. Very different scene this time. Thanks so much, Yasmin.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here, and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.